Started as an East Coast vibe, now I'm going worldwide. We got this bitch going crazy. I used to take the Mazda for a drive, now I'm on the 405 like it's fuck you, pay me. We really sick of standing outside, had to push them all aside. It's what you get for trying to play me. I bet they make a movie when I die just to talk about my life. They need an actor to portray me. I got this motherfucker clear like an eye drop. I got elevator flow, I'm on a high top. I got little something stacked like an IHOP. This is 05, you will put it on your iPod. I'ma give you something that you can't forget. Put the price up, baby, add the tax a bit. Know you saw the comma, thought it was an accident. Well, it wasn't. It's about time the kids buzzing. I'm trying to get a peek in the elevator. But if we talking peaks, I need mine like the Himalayas. I'm talking yay high, man. I never had a vertical limit. I ain't seen you put in work in a minute. I gotta put on for the family. That goes for every person that's in it. Used to scrape by working as a service attendant till I got more. Bitch, I ain't comfy. I need the top floor. Doing anything to get that spot for. Pop up. Started as an East Coast vibe. Now I'm going worldwide. We got this bitch going crazy. I used to take the Mazda for a drive. Now I'm on the 405 like it's fuck you, pay. We really sick of standing outside. Had to push them all aside. It's what you get for trying to play me. I bet they make a movie when I die just to talk about my life. They need an actor to portray me. I ain't said it.
You're ready for a show? You're ready for a show?
Start, no, I wasn't pretend. With the world on my back, had to drop my own ego. Problems at the crib, we couldn't fix at Home Depot. That was on tilt, moms off the vino. Room full of smoke like we lived in a casino. She know, day I moved out is when I opened my eyes. Looking for the truth like God show me a sign. I'm not religious or the holiest kind, but the blessings came to me when I opened my mind. I was running around the city, man, I knew I had to make some. Wasn't raised a thief, but if I had to, I would take some. Worked the Frito-Lay, I was writing on my break, son. Plotting on a record, waiting for the day we break one.
Nah, I was just, no, I'm really busy, just wrapping up some stuff in the studio. Yeah, everything's good. I mean, it's just been a lot of, like, settling in and whatnot. Yeah. I'm not really sure when I'm coming back. I don't have any plans of it right now,
I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to your favorite show, the Designated Spittaz. Derek, how's it going, man?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. Starting to see guys trickling into camp.
Yeah.
Pretty soon we're gonna have photo day. That's a fun day. You get to see who's chose to smile and who's going with a serious look.
All right, so off the cuff, whose picture do you want to see the most?
I want to see Giancarlo because sometimes he's just like he looks like a mugshot, and sometimes he's like I want to see which Giancarlo shows up that day.
The smiley one, or like the I'm just gonna sit here and look at you.
Right, that one. I like the mean Giancarlo. I like scary Giancarlo myself.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the guy that you want on your side, no doubt about it. I tell you who I can't wait. I need to see that Rodon mustache a little closer. I need to see that Super Mario mustache a little closer.
You know why they do picture day is because back in the day, teams used to put like the worst possible photo that they could find of the guy. Like if they looked a little drunk or if they looked a little fat, they would put up on the scoreboard so that like you would kind of throw them off their game a little bit. So they started going to like uniform pictures.
Do you remember when Garrett Cole had to redo his because he looked a little chunky?
Yeah, he showed up, that the year after he got that 360 or 330, whatever it was. He spent on some pretty good meals, you could say.
Yeah, I was laughing at that because I was like, the picture-wise, look, I'm always like, look, if a pitcher gains weight, it really doesn't bother me because I'm like, pitchers usually do well when they have a little more weight on them for whatever reason it is. So it never bothers me when it's a pitcher. I'm like, all right, you know what it is. But I would tell you what, that Cole one was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because he had like the little double chin action going on. And it looked like a complete difference from the prior year. So it was pretty funny to see. Yeah,
usually the heavier you are, you pick up a little bit more velo, like CC. Remember, he threw harder when he was a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And I think it's got something to do with physics. Like, I'm not a physicist, but force equals mass times acceleration. So the more mass you have, if you're accelerating at the same speed, you should theoretically create more velocity. Yeah.
Yeah, because CC, when he lost weight during that little time, that period he was trying to find himself again, he wasn't as good. Right. And then he gained weight again towards the end, and he was pretty good again.
Have you seen him lately?
He's just ripped. He's
jacked.
He's on
like
the
he's
juice.
Gonna fight UFC.
You know he's on the juice.
Oh,
gotta be juicing. CC's
I don't want to libel him, but he's definitely in very good shape.
CC, I really don't want to fight you. I'm just saying. You're in, all right. I'll do with Derek. That he's all right. See, Derek could bring me down a lot. I like this. This is good because I might have went on the whole run like this and got myself in trouble. All right, cool. We got a super chat from DJ Steele. Says, Derek, I need you to say Zucca La Mink to Li. No, we don't need to do no Zucca La Minks, okay? Zucca La Mink is Italian for, suck my,
Oh, okay.
Wait, leave Li alone, DJ Steels. Come on, we'll get the Zucca La Mink shirts out someday, and we'll go from there.
All right.
No, like you said before, Derek, I'm right there with you, man. As content creators, of course, we were just talking about this. The off season is kind of a reset time, a little bit of a relaxation time to a degree, even though we all still put content out. But we're excited. I know I am. That, like you said, spring training is back. I'm telling you, man, I was doing All Rise the other day, and just hearing the crack of the bat off of Judge, I was like, oh, man, this is it. This is back. Like, we're really back.
Yeah.
It's a fun time for Major League Baseball, and the Yankees do got a little bit of stories, heading into spring training, and we've had some predictions of what could happen, but there's some open spots right now. I know one of the predictions that I've made, and I think I made it on NYYPD on Derek's channel, of course. That's with me and Frankie and Derek, Fridays. But one of the predictions I made was about IKF, and I said I believe IKF is going to be traded. Aaron Boone has kind of left it wide open, saying, hey, every shortstop is going to play a different position also. We're really going to have somewhat of an open competition here. Do you think that is the prime competition of spring training for the Yankees?
Well, I mean, I think it has to be. Starting shortstop is such an important position. Mm-hmm. I mean, left field, yeah, sure, it's fun. Corner outfielder provides a little pop or whatever, but shortstop's such a key piece of your team.
Right.
Look, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't watching it very closely, but a part of me just feels like I kind of wish it was settled already. Like, I don't really like this idea of guys playing musical chairs, and I don't want guys playing every different position. Alex Bregman doesn't show up and play second base one day, third base another day, shortstop another day. He goes in there and he gets his work done at third base, and when the season begins, he's ready to fucking go. I want that. I want a team that's ready. I want them to not wait until the last week of spring training to settle this shortstop, third base, second base thing. I want them in about 10 days to be like, all right, Glaber, if he's not traded, is going to be the second baseman. Peraza is going to be our shortstop. Third base, we're going to go with DJ and Donaldson or whoever, if Donaldson's still there. And then we're going to move somebody over, move Volpe over to third or move over to second. This is how we're going to line it up. And then just work on it. Develop a plan and work the plan. I feel like the Yankees try and overthink the room way too much.
Oh, way too. I'm so happy you brought that up because that's something that I know for a while, even last year. I'm talking about this all year long. With the Yankees just have like a problem with consistency. They're just like, we don't really care about being consistent. We don't care about giving guys, an actual spot. I'm right there with you. I'm 100% there with you. Look, I'm okay with you saying things are a competition to a degree. We want these guys to kind of, but I don't want this thing to go down to the last day and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Peraza didn't play well, so IKF's the guy again.
Right.
I'm like, that's going to ruin it all for us. Let's be real here. I mean, look, I think it's the Yankees' fault more than IKF with the way the fans kind of reacted to him and how we all kind of said, hey, this guy's really not the shortstop we were all promised that he would be. He's a good ball player. Yankees probably put him in a really tough spot and it didn't work out well. But I'm right there with you. It's the same thing with things like with guys like Clark Schmidt, isn't it? Is he a starter or what? Like, what are we doing with this guy? We're going to leave him in the pen. Is he going to be the fifth starter? Now He's developed a cutter, so everybody's like, oh, let him be the fifth starter. And I said it today. I'm like, you know what? if he's going to be the fifth starter, can we just make him the fifth starter and leave him there? Let him get in the role where he was drafted to be. The Yankees chose him knowing he had to get surgery, but they felt he would fly through the system. And to his credit, he kind of has. Yeah. But they haven't allowed him to say, let's see you as a starter.
That's true. So I got to say this. When he has started, he seems to make it through the order about one time, about 3 innings. And then they kind of pick up on, I don't know if they kind of tell what's coming or if they just start seeing him better. So it makes sense that he's pitched better out of the bullpen. But if you want to be a starter, you got to get it done. At some point, you got to take the training wheels off and it's sink or swim. I think personally that Domingo Germán has done more than enough to show that he can be the fifth starter. His ERA last year was about, 3.6, 3.5, something like that. That's fine for a number 5 starter, especially since in April, you're probably not going to need a fifth starter all that much because you got a couple of off days. Just my thought.
Yeah. No, you're right about Domingo Germán. I got him pulled up on the screen right here. 3.61 ERA last year. He started 14 games for the Yankees, so half of a season, basically, to kind of sum that up. But, yeah, he's been good. I mean, 72 innings last year for the Yankees, 58 strikeouts. Doesn't really walk anybody. So, I mean, here's a guy who, like you said, he's done a good job whenever the Yankees have allowed him to start. But I almost feel like, again, it's the same conversation that we're having, though, is that the Yankees don't really make their mind up. You know, make your minds up with these guys. My
problem with Clark Schmidt is that you can, like, the curveball is the number 1 pitch, but it's not one of those curveballs where he can drop it for a strike. It's a swing and miss curveball that he throws on the outer part of the plate or he buries in the dirt. And as a starter, you've got to be able to throw that breaking ball for a strike to get like a first pitch strike, to get the guy off balance. Then you come back in with a fastball, maybe a 2-seamer inside, get him to foul one off or get him looking inside. And then you go away with the hook off the plate. But you've got to be able to start the count with a breaking ball. Otherwise, guys start sitting fastball. And if you start with a changeup, I mean, look, he's got a decent changeup. And, every year somebody's got a new pitch. Maybe he's got a cutter. Maybe he doesn't. I heard a lot of people say they have a new pitch and then they don't throw it all year. But you've got to be able to start with something other than a fastball. And you've got to be able to give hitters different looks. And to me, I just don't see it. I just don't see it from Clark Schmidt.
Definitely. No, I'm there with you. I just want either one of those guys. If you, like you said before, sink or swim, right? Look, if you're a starter, you're a starter. We're going to give you that chance. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I think if you really kind of toss them up together, Domingo Germán has more evidence behind him to say, hey, I can do this through an order multiple times. Like I think Frankie said it in the chat, he's usually able to give you 5 innings. Yeah. And if you know your fifth starter, because let's put it this way, right? You're right what you said earlier. The probably the biggest competition we have is shortstop because the fifth starter is the fifth starter. I mean, I think if the Yankees went out there and just picked somebody up and everybody's like, yeah, he's been a decent starter for a couple of years, nobody would be mad about it. They'd be like, all right, cool. He could probably give us a few innings. So that's the main thing that you're looking at in that situation. But the Yankees got really a battle that we know of. Shortstop, that number 5 starter spot that you spoke about, and then likely also left field. And I don't even know if it's a battle because it just might be Hicks' spot. I think Cabrera is probably going to get a chance out there, but for some reason, I just really feel like if he's not moved magically, it's probably going to end up being Aaron Hicks' spot in left field.
I mean, I'm not looking forward to it, but the one solace I take in that is it is a long season, and at some point they can make a deal. Correct. And what are the odds he's going to stay healthy another full year? This is a guy who never stayed healthy really until last year. Yeah. And I think he dialed it back a little bit in order to stay healthy, and that's what caused him to suck. So if he comes into camp, don't be surprised if he's red hot in camp, gets off to a good start, and then by May, he's back on the IL. But one more thing on Domingo Germán, if I may. Yeah, please. You mentioned that he pitched about a half a season, right? He does. In the past, he has started off seasons really well. He always has about a really good half a season. Mm-hmm. And then he starts to get tired a little bit. And I think that's maybe because he's a little bit on the skinny side. Like if he could put on some strength, maybe he could get you through a full season. But also the other thing is if he gets off to a decent start and you have that opportunity at the trade deadline, you can deal him if he's still in that number 5 spot and he's got some decent numbers. You can deal him as part of a deal to get a bat because you're not going to need a number 5 starter in the postseason.
Correct. And one of the things I want to shout out, actually 2 things that you brought up. The first one is I gotta shout you out for your Twitter post on Luis Severino. looking like prime Evander Holyfield. Severino looks stacked.
Jacked, bro.
Yeah,
Man.
he does. Sevy looks like he's in absolutely phenomenal shape.
He's pitching for a paycheck this because he's a free agent after the year.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
If he goes out and throws, say 185 innings, 200 strikeouts, 3.2 ERA, gonna get $150 million easy.
A lot of money.
And probably won't be from the Yankees. So this might be his last chance to get a ring in the Bronx. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I think he's on a mission this year. And I think, his problem when he first came up was similar to what I see from Herman. He was really skinny and slight of frame when he first came up. And over the years, he's increased his size, his strength, his body weight. But, one thing that can be difficult about that is it can alter your mechanics slightly because you're throwing a bigger mass around, right?
Correct.
And so that can cause little injuries. It can cause a Tommy John, which we saw him have. A lot of times when you see guys get stronger, their ligaments aren't prepared to take that extra strength. But that ligament's healthy now. If his shoulder stays healthy, and his deltoids look ridiculous right now.
Yeah,
if he's healthy, he's going to dominate.
Yeah, and that's my thing with him. I see a lot of people, and I've been this person before because, looking at Severy's year last year, as long as he's on the mound, it's fantastic. I mean, Severino was very good last year, no matter how you want to see it. And you can make the argument that maybe the Yankees, the injury wasn't as bad, and maybe they tried to extend it long so he's ready for the postseason. You can make whatever argument you want, but I agree with you. I think Sevy's goal is to stay on the field this year, and he's going to cash out big time. He's going to make a shit ton of money as long as he's healthy through the whole year.
What did he do in the postseason last year? So he pitched 2 times.
He got beat up one game. I think Houston. The only reason he got beat up against Houston, I think, was a 3-run home run. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Bregman. It was that one where he said it was a low exit velocity, but it was 25 rows deep.
Yeah, I'm just that day. That's one of the games that drove me nuts because that was
I remember
the
Pete rant.
You remember the rant from that day?
I remember the rant from that one. I had a similar
rant. The voice got
rant.
squeaky. The voice got squeaky. And
I don't want to hear about the exit velocity on a ball that's 25 rows deep. So he went in the playoffs last year. He pitched against Cleveland. He went 5 2/3, 3 runs, 6 strikeouts. That's not bad.
Not a bad start, no.
And then 3-run homer to Houston. But otherwise, he was solid in that game. And he was strong in the final game of the season where he almost threw a no-hitter.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, as long as Sevy's healthy, I think he's going to be dominating. And, one of the things we don't talk about a lot is a lot of times, and rightfully so, Cole and Rodon are going to get the eyes on him. But that 1-2-3 punch, you could look at, I don't know, like this, I know I did a video on the 1-2 punches. Has there ever been a 1-2-3 punch that could all strike out 200-plus batters in a season? Has that ever happened? Not
with the Yankees, I don't think, but I know the Orioles had 4 20-game winners in the early 70s. Right. They had like Palmer and Seaver and I can't think of the other two, but man, I'm trying to think.
That's just interesting to think about because we never really, we're always talking about the 1-2 punch, but if Sevy's healthy, my God, I mean, look out for a little reference there to Singleton, but look out for really what they're going to do as an overall in the season and what it means to that pitching staff, how dominating they have a chance to be.
I miss Ken Singleton.
Yeah, I do too, man. I mean, Maben didn't work out. Carlos Beltran didn't, which we knew was going to work out.
He was awful. God.
Terrible. Got a super chat from my guy, Rod Thompson. Ra says, let me get it pulled back up here. I'm having a hard time believing that the Yankees are a $7 billion organization that runs this team so dysfunctionally. Lack for a better term. The Yankees are kind of weird, man. Is the way I'll say it. The Yankees are kind of weird. The Yankees, I feel like, are one of the only team that, and I think Derek summed it up, they really try very hard to be the smartest team in the room. And a lot of times their smart moves they try to make just backfires. And it's like this obviously didn't work. And they're also very reluctant to cut the ties early. Yeah. And go, no, change it. It's not, guys, enough. It's not working. Like last year. And Derek, obviously we do a lot of content, so we don't always see each other's content. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I was calling once Peraza got hot after like his second month of being hot, like hitting well over 300. Yeah, I was saying, why is he in AAA? If you got a starting shortstop that should just be there, and the Yankees didn't call him up to September?
Yeah, I was saying that right around August, I think, when, IKF was, it was proven at that point he was not going to get better at shortstop. He's a third baseman. They shifted over, and we had some guys that were ready. And I was thinking, if he's your stopgap, the gap has been stopped. They're ready. The gap has been, they call it breakfast, breaking your fast, right?
Yeah.
Breakfast time comes, eat,
Yep.
I was ready for some fresh blood around August, and they could have used it, but I don't know why they didn't pull the trigger until they did. And even in the postseason, the fact that IKF was starting games at shortstop was a travesty. The fact that Peraza wasn't on the first round roster, I thought that was a slam dunk.
Oh, 100%. I was shocked. I remember when it came out, I went live for it because I was shocked when the roster came out. I said, "What the hell is this?" And it sucks too because, well, Carlos Rodon kind of summed this up today. He was like, "Look, Yankee fans want to win. I expect it. I expect to be booed. I expect to be cheered. Yankee fans want to win." And we are a different organization. I don't know if it is because a lot of us came up during a dynasty and we were kind of spoiled, and I get that and I understand it. But we do kind of have a different way of seeing the game. So yeah, look, we're probably the only team or of a fan base that would complain knowing their team's in the postseason, but we just got something to complain about. We're like, whoa, how is this a travesty? And it's like, but we're in the postseason.
Right.
I get it, but it's like, but then again, that goes back to what Rob was kind of talking about, right? The dysfunction of the Yankees is even going into the postseason, they didn't know who the hell the shortstop was.
Yeah.
You had all year to figure this out. You don't know who your shortstop is?
Right. That's why I get frustrated. Like we were talking about going into spring training and hearing about all these experiments. Whatever happened to there being a leader from the top down? And I'm just going to go off on a little mini rant here.
Please.
That's the one thing I miss about George Steinbrenner is that there was an alpha in the organization that would put his foot down and make a decision. Yeah. Right now, I feel like everything is a committee meeting. Everything is a board meeting. Everything needs input from 15 different people and the analysts and the old school people. George would come in and he'd say, "Look, here's what we're going to do. Peraza's the shortstop. Volpe, you're going to AAA to play third. You're going to be up in June. Get ready."
Yep, that's right.
And then, and that's how they would do it. You're going to be our answer to Bregman, that type of thing. And they would instill the confidence in these guys and have a plan and then work the plan. They're using spring training now to kind of see what works. And that's not what championship teams do. That is not what championship teams do.
Damn right. No, I agree with you 150%. I couldn't say it better myself. You're right. And, that's one of the reasons why people bring that up a lot is, but if George, we don't want to sit here and look, George had his time. George did his thing. George got the Yankees to where they are today. Whether it's good, a lot of bad in there, a lot of great in there. We all understand the story. We get that. But you're spot on. I would have no problem, zero problem with the Yankees coming in on day one and saying Peraza's the shortstop. Volpe, like you said, and again, it's not something you have to announce, but the organization should know, and it's obvious they don't.
Right.
It's as clear as day that they don't. They don't know what the next few months of the season is going to look like. They don't know if Gleyber Torres is going to be around for a whole season. We don't know. I mean, there's even people that think that he might be traded in the spring. I mean, the Yankees, these are questions and things that should have been answered in the offseason.
Yeah.
So now you're just putting your team together and getting everybody to gel together for a full season of baseball.
It's a distraction.
You hear Gleyber. It is. Look at Gleyber coming out being like, I mean, I wish they looked to sign me, but I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of like, it really is. It's kind of strange.
When a guy doesn't, he starts hearing rumors as soon as he gets to spring training, he doesn't know he's going to make it to opening day before being traded. You got the World Baseball Classic going. You got all these things disrupting that. Like, I just feel like the Yankees aren't in a good place to begin this quest for number 28. I was hoping that when they came into camp, they would have things more structured, right?
Yeah.
And look, I'll just use an example from my own life. When I'm getting ready to do a podcast, right? Just a post-game show, I have everything lined up. I know exactly, what time I'm going to start my my intro. I know exactly how long everything is. I know exactly when I'm going to pull up certain things on the screen. Like, I have it all scripted out. I have it. And for a team that loves to script things out, they sure as hell haven't scripted out their roster, which is the most important thing.
100% right. 100%
So,
right. It's something, Derek. I mean, I've brought this up many years. Aaron Boone on year one, I gave him the slide. I said, whatever happens, happens. Give him a year. He's a brand new manager. But then I had to start saying, all right, hold on a second. We got to start talking about some of this. And one of the things I always say, Derek, is why does the Yankees out the year never seem prepared?
Yeah.
They just never seem prepared. And I think a lot of it has to do with us here just having common sense. I think as a human, you're right. As a human, you're usually better prepared and ready to perform when you kind of have an idea of what are the next couple of minutes going to look. What is the next couple of hours going to, what are the next couple of days and weeks going to look like? You're more prepared that way. Most of our lives are handled that way. We have a pretty good understanding of what the next couple of months could look like. Now, sometimes that changes and you adjust and go about it that way. But the Yankees seem to do an amazing job of really not preparing their players for what's to come.
Yeah.
Case in point, the postseason. The postseason, the biggest time of the year. Hey, Sevy, why don't you think Holmes was? I don't know. You should ask the manager. I have no idea.
Exactly. Yes.
Holmes saying, hey, I was available. He said I was. But then he comes out, no, he wasn't available. What? What's going on here?
Communication. Look, communication is the most important thing in pretty much any job, and that extends to athletics. Look,
That's right.
What happened about maybe 2 hours before we went live tonight? I sent you a message and I said, going forward for this podcast, I've got everything scheduled, blocked off on my schedule. Send me the link on Twitter.
Yep.
I'll log on 5 to 7 minutes early every single night.
Good to go. Yep.
Now we know that for the rest of the year, we don't have to worry about that, right? If something changes, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
The fact that you don't know if your closer is ready and your closer thinks he is ready, that's horseshit. That's bad management.
It's insane. It's horrible. Horrible. Another one. Think about this for a second. And I remember when I went on a rant on this, I said, guys, just listen to me before you comment, please. Because trust me, everyone's going to agree. There's no one that could disagree with this. You're struggling in the postseason. Your offense is not doing well. You got a guy in Harrison Bader who is the only guy hot and performing well. You got the nerve as the manager to go, I don't know why he didn't know he was leading off. Everybody gets a batting card. You didn't feel the need to pull him in the office and go, hey, look, kid, you're playing great. We need you tomorrow to lead off and get this thing going. That never happened?
Yeah. How about asking him first? Are you comfortable leading off? Have you ever let off before? Here's what's happening. You're leading off a playoff game tomorrow. Be ready.
Bro, it's the most basic stuff in the world that you would expect just happens without even asking. Conversations about it. It's strange.
Let me give you one more. The J-Happ and Davy Garcia thing in the playoffs.
Oh,
where they tried to overthink the room and they tried to go with the opener for 1 or 2 innings. I guarantee if Davy Garcia was just allowed to pitch, he would have done much better. The game would have gone completely differently.
No question.
Because he looked good.
No question about it.
Look, I just feel like the Yankees are constantly trying to overthink the room, right? They're trying to be the smartest team in the room. Yeah. But look, you're already the richest team in the room. Right. Do that. Right. Let's do that. If I'm the richest guy at the party, I don't need to have the most interesting conversation. I can show up in the best car, right?
Yep.
I can live with the prettiest girl. That's who the Yankees are, and that's who they should be.
Yep, that's right. And that's all we've really been asking for. We got a super chat from my man, Killer Joe. He says, Peraza, Volpe, Donaldson, IKF, DJ, even Oswaldo. Someone has to get moved and soon. I mean, it's a crowded, and that's another thing, Derek. You're the GM of the Yankees. Why do you have constant log jams and guys blocking other guys that you're telling us are the future?
The move to bring in Donaldson, I get you wanted to improve defense, but that was just the dumbest move. After you got so many infielders, look, all these guys are shortstops. You got like 3 top prospects in your top 10 that are shortstops, and you just signed Roderick Arias, the top international prospect. How many shortstops do you need in the system? Move some of these guys over, right?
Yep.
Draft somebody as a shortstop, move them to third base, move them to second base. Have a diverse availability of prospects. That way, if somebody needs a third baseman, say, well, I don't have a third baseman. I got 7 shortstops, though. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Come on. You allow yourself to make deals. You allow yourself to line up for the future better. It's just bad roster construction.
Very, very bad. And it's gone on for so long now that, like somebody just said in the comment, you guys can have a conversation all day about blunders that the Yankees have made in just the last couple of seasons.
Right.
I mean, it's really unbelievable. So before we move on to the next topic, I gotta get a prediction out there. Who's the left fielder you believe on opening day?
Opening day. Well, if I were doing it, Oswaldo Cabrera. But
okay, let's do
I'm
it.
not
You were
the
doing
manager.
it, and what you think reality would be.
I think reality is going to be Aaron Hicks, just like you said. But if I were doing it, I'd start with Oswaldo Cabrera. I like his energy. I like his arm. I like the fact that he's an up and coming switch hitter that's getting better, not going circling the drain like Aaron Hicks.
Yeah. I at this point right now, how a roster looks, I probably agree with you on both of those. I'm actually really interested to see what Ortega does for the Yankees in spring training. I don't know if he really has a shot, but it'll be interesting just to see. Because, I mean, a lot of the scouting reports and stuff on this guy is that he's probably better than people think.
Is he on the 40-man? I don't think he's on the 40-man.
No, he's not on the 40-man. I don't believe he's on the 40-man.
So they'd have to move somebody, which is...
They'd have to move somebody, which I think you could actually do with some guys.
Let me ask you a question. Just binary answer, yes or no. Do Yankees make a trade before opening day?
Yes.
I think so, too.
100%.
I think so, yeah.
I guess we don't really want to get into detail on it, but I've already predicted I think IKF has moved, and I'm standing by that. I really believe IKF is going to be moved.
Yeah, I think it's going to be IKF.
But...
Yeah. Well, here's what I think might happen. I think that you will see either IKF or Gleyber Torres, probably IKF, moved, but they're going to try and package him with one of the bigger contracts and a decent prospect, right? Yeah. That way you give the team some incentive, like if IKF doesn't work out, at least you got a prospect or whatever. And I don't think the Yankees are going to get much in return. I think they're going to look for a couple of those bullpen type guys that have the really good metrics, but maybe not great stats that they can pair up with Matt Blake and come June when they figured out their new pitch or whatever and their spin rate, then you call them up when you need them in the bullpen and they end up being great.
Yep, agree. A couple of people in the comments are already saying they don't think the left field is actually on the roster currently. That's maybe a case. We'll see.
Possible.
Profar's still out there.
He is
still out there. I like him. I really do. I like him a little bit.
Kepler still out there? Right? He's still he's on the roster there.
Yeah.
But are there still talks that they might deal him, or are they pretty much?
There was apparently. I guess why everybody thought he was 100% going to be moved is because the assumption was that Joey Gallo is going to play the outfield. Then they got these two young kids, Krillinoff, whatever his name is, who's very good, and another young kid out there. But apparently, Joey Gallo is going to play a lot of first base. Yeah. So it's going to leave the outfield spot open. They may hold on to him.
They still have Buxton too.
They still have Buxton
for 50 or 60 games until he gets hurt.
100% guaranteed for a very, very good 40 or 50, and that is it. Completely it. That's it. It's a wrap from there. Shortstop. Who's your guy? Who do you think's going to be at opening day?
Peraza's going to win the job.
I think Peraza too.
And I honestly look. I'll take my lumps. I know a lot of people disagree with me on this because he's the number one ranked shortstop prospect in baseball. Mm-hmm. I think Volpe is a second baseman or a third baseman. I look at his body type. Yeah, I see Dustin Pedroia or Alec Bregman. I see that type of body type. Yeah. I don't see a shortstop. The shortstop, starting with Ripken, has become more of a lanky position because you need the range. You need and look, he's got speed. He's got a quick release. He comes in and turns the double play very well. Yep. I want the guy who's got the leg. The stride length to go up the middle and to go to his right. Yeah. And to me, that's Peraza. That's not Volpe. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And again, I think sometimes people get so attached to some prospects. It's like you're saying something negative, but you're not. You're simply just saying, hey, look, guys, everybody around baseball will tell you Peraza is the better defensive shortstop. That's not a problem. The only reason why we're not sitting here saying that Volpe should be the shortstop is because Peraza's there. That's the only reason. But yeah, I agree with you. I know Dane, who's one of our prospect guys here, does a very, very good job of covering these guys and talking to a lot of people. And his original comp to Volpe was Bregman. He's like, look, Bregman came up as a shortstop. They got the same type of body. They're not big guys. They're smaller guys. And he could also move over to third or second base. So I do think eventually that is probably going to be the outcome for Volpe. So we'll see. And last one, number 5 starter. Who do you got?
Domingo Germán.
You're going to go Germán? I'm going to go Clark Schmidt. I think Schmidt's going to win it. I'm going to go with Schmidt on that one.
All right.
So the next topic of conversation, this is something that you brought up to me, and I want to hear what you got to say about it. According to, who was it again? The Athletic?
Brendan Cootie. I'll just filibuster. Here. So Brendan Cootie predicted in one of his out there predictions that Aaron Judge would hit 70 home runs. And it was meant as kind of like a throwaway, bold prediction, just something to put out there to get clicks or whatever. But it started gnawing on my mind. And I was sitting there chewing on it for a few days.
Here we go.
And I started thinking, Judge, he's 31 years old. He's still getting better. He was still getting better last year, his best year last year. Growing up, one of his favorite players was Barry Bonds. And, since Bonds hit 73, nobody's really had a chance to get close. Now, you have to think that psychologically, as an athlete, you just got paid. You don't have to worry about the contract. You're a New Yorker. You're a captain. All that stuff is out of the way. You got two things left: championships and climbing the home run ladder.
Yep.
Right?
True.
Putting together that Hall of Fame case. Now, you have to think that psychologically, he knows he's got the best chance that anybody has had at 70 plus in a long time.
Easy.
And definitely the best chance non-steroids. He's bigger than Bonds ever was. Bonds was 6'2". He was listed at 185. He was 220, 230, guaranteed.
Yeah, easy.
But Bonds was 36 when he hit 73 home runs. But if you factor in that the drugs and stuff probably helped his reaction time and stuff, he was probably playing at the level of about a 31, 32-year-old, which you can have that kind of prime. The thing that made Bonds that much better than everybody else was his supernatural judgment of the strike zone. Judge doesn't have quite that.
I don't think anybody had that better than Bonds.
No. I mean, he's supernatural in that regard.
Yeah.
He's not going to strike out as much as Judge does. But Judge outweighs him by about 60 pounds of natural muscle. Judge has the Yankee Stadium right field porch advantage where he can be late on a pitch, hit a routine pop-up to right field, and it goes out of the ballpark. If he can do that 2 extra times per month, I'm talking 2 lazy fly balls that go 318 feet down a right field line, twice a month. That's 12 extra home runs. That, ladies and gentlemen, is 74 home runs. The one thing that Bonds had was the eye.
Yeah.
If Judge can just not swing at quite as many bad pitches, and if the umps get better at calling those pitches that are borderline at the knees, look, he's got a real shot. I mean, I really think that over the next 2 years, before the body starts to wear down a little bit more, he's got a real shot, and he knows that. He absolutely knows that. Would not shock me if he makes a run at it.
Well, Derek, there's actually a lot of numbers that actually back up, even what you're saying, even though it's the last couple of years. But Aaron Judge's walk rate went up a ton. I mean, now you can also just simply say, well, who the hell else were teams pitching to? I mean, did you want to pitch to Judge or pitch around Judge? Yeah, that is a part of it. But it was the same thing with Bonds, was it not? I mean, it was the same thing with Bonds. Guys didn't want to pitch to him. So that fell into it. Also, the K numbers continue to come down for Judge.
Yeah.
So he's getting a better understanding of what his strike zone is. And you brought up another point, too. Who knows how that's going to change over the next couple of seasons?
Yeah.
He hit with all the strikes and all. And he hit 311, exactly. I mean, when Aaron Judge had 52 home runs, he had 284 that year. Nobody ever expected Judge could be a 300-plus hitter.
No, I thought 284 was probably going to be his career high.
Yeah.
I thought he would never see that kind of pitching again. He was hitting 325 for about the first couple of months of the season because nobody could figure him out.
Right.
But then they started, pitching him better after the break. Average came down. I said, all right, he's probably going to be a 260 hitter for the duration of his career or whatever. But because he's so big and strong, he could hit 50 home runs in any year. But now that he's become a legitimately great hitter, and look, there's comparisons of his swing next to Bond's swing. I wish I had thought to put one together, but people have made these comparisons where you turn Judge around, like you mirror the video, and it looks like Bonds, right? And you put them right over each other. They're almost identical swings.
That's interesting.
So there's 2 things that I think are going to keep, actually 3 things that I think could keep Judge from getting to 74. One, he doesn't have a lot of protection. Somebody in the comments mentioned Jeff Kent. The Yankees don't have anybody that's that type of hitter. They got Rizzo's a pretty good hitter. Giancarlo Stanton's pretty good, but he doesn't strike fear into you because you can strike him out. You can get him out.
And here's the other thing too. Bonds and Kent should be Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. They're basically Hall of Famers. So the Yankees don't really have that right there. I mean, these guys were legitimately some of the best in the game at that time together.
That's why I was hoping the Yankees would get Soto last year, because if you pair Judge and Soto, either hit Soto in front of Judge and let Soto hit 400.
I got to ask you this. Would you have traded the Martian for him?
I would 100% emptied the farm system.
Wow. Wow, that's big to hear you say that. 'Cause I know you love.
I would have traded the top 5 prospects for Soto.
Really?
I would have emptied the farm for Soto.
Holy shit, that's big to hear.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain
surprised.
guys. There's 1 or 2 guys like that you would do that for. I think Ohtani is probably a guy that I would probably deal the Martian and 1 or 2 of the other top 5 prospects. My
understanding is they tried very hard at the deadline.
Yeah.
To get him. I think the Athletic also talked about that too. The Yankees pushed pretty hard to try to get Ohtani.
Yeah, I think they might have overkicked their coverage a little bit there.
Yeah,
they just didn't quite have the stuff
very
to get him,
much.
But
that's interesting. That's interesting to hear you say that though about Soto. I mean, I don't disagree. I agree.
Yeah.
I've always agreed with that. A guy at that level and that talent, you need somebody with Judge, because the one thing that we also got to remember too, and I always say this, is every year Judge gets older. Every year Cole gets older. Every year from here, Rodon is gonna get older. You really need a gun for it, man. When you got something this close and this good, you really got to do everything you could to gun for that and hope that you hit the right button. And it's not easy, we know that. But that you hit the right button and this team wins that World Series.
I thought last year after that hot start when they were 60 and 16 or whatever, some ridiculous. No, I don't know, wasn't that much. It was like 39 and 16 or something like that. I was thinking this is the year. They finally put all the pieces together, but it just fell apart. And I have a hard time believing they're going to get that hot again this year with everybody a year older. It's just
going to be hard. Everything fell into place last year. I know while I was calling games, everybody was like, oh, Pete, come on. I said, guys, look, I'm just being honest. We haven't seen none of the red flags pop up. There'd been everything was going their way. I'm like, I'm not saying they didn't play good baseball. I'm not taking nothing away from them. But it wouldn't shock me if the Yankees came a little down to earth.
Yeah.
And I mean, they got beat up with injuries and all. So it was a lot more than just saying we were playing too much over our head. It wasn't really that. A lot of things happened last year to get them to where they were.
Yeah, I still feel like they're a good team, but you had mentioned you were kind of what was the publication you read that predicted the Blue Jays were gonna beat the Yankees this year?
Yeah. Before I get to that, let me get into a super chat we got here. Opinions on Burns being upset with the Brewers, their potential deal. I will consider taking on part of Yelich's contract to get Burns as a Yankee. I'll be honest with you, I don't expect that to happen, or definitely not happen early in the year. I don't even think it'll happen anytime this year, to be honest.
I like Yelich, but he's lost a lot defensively, and offensively he's kind of fallen back from where he was a couple of years ago. Burns, look, I don't see any incentive for them to deal him. They're still a competitive team, right?
Yeah, I mean, that team's a World Series. I mean, I know people probably say, Pete, come on. With that pitching staff, I mean, you add a couple of decent hitters and things click. They could be a threat in the National League, no doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
But going back to what you said, yes. So this is from good old Baseball Digest, which I am a proud subscriber of. Okay, I read, everybody, believe it or not. I read. Okay, I can read. They got the Blue Jays winning the division, and let me tell you something. I am not happy with Baseball Digest.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Blue Jays, let me just play devil's advocate for a second.
I'm Blue Jays agree with you, but go ahead.
They do scare me a little bit.
I agree.
Their best players are still very young. Vladdy's 24. Bichette's 25. Kirk is 24. Manoah's 25. They kind of remind me of that 95 Indians team that lost to the Braves. You remember that team? They had Tomei, Ramirez, Baerga, Bell.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really good team that was on the up and coming. And I think that the Jays are kind of in that mold. On the pitching side, Manoah can be as good as anybody if he doesn't eat himself into irrelevance. I mean, I've been watching. Look, it's dangerous when you give a young guy who's maybe a little bit overweight some real money, because there's no stopping those 3 a.m. Uber Eats deliveries at that point. Alejandro Kirk is another guy. He's listed at 5'8", 245 pounds. Good player, but how long you think those knees are going to hold up, buddy?
Not too long.
I don't think so.
Unless he's Benji Molina, and the Molinas are just built different. So, no, I don't think so.
Kevin Gossman, though, he can be as dangerous as anybody on any given days. He scares me in the playoffs if you got to face him. I don't want any part of them in the wild card, because that you run Gossman out there, he can beat you. He's a split finger guy, and a split fingered fastball is considered one of the most effective pitches in Major League Baseball. And he's got one of the best splitties in baseball, and he throws it for both strikes, and he can give it like a little bit more of a forkball action where it's got a bigger break and he can get the swing and miss on it. Yep. So they do scare me a little bit, but the health. I'm not sure these guys being a little bit overweight can keep playing year after year on that turf.
I mean, they also added a 5-WAR 26-year-old Dalton Varsho.
Oh, Varsho.
I mean, and a lot of people are kind of sleeping on Varsho. There's also a reason why the Yankees wanted the guy very much. He's
Varsho's
a really
the guy
good
I
ball
wanted.
player. Yeah, I like Varsho a lot. He's a really good ball player. 27 homers in Arizona. If he's staying healthy, probably 30-plus homers in Toronto, I would assume. I mean, no doubt about it. A really good ball player. Could catch, could play the outfield. But they're definitely a team. And, reading it, my prediction this year compared to last year I had the Jays winning the division. I had the Yankees in second place. This year, I got the Yankees winning, and I got the Jays in second place. So hopefully it's not a little flip around, and it actually goes the other way this year. But I do think that a lot of Yankee fans who are just simply saying, it's our division, it's easy, it's easier than last year. I don't know about that. That I'll say, I really don't know about that. I do think the Jays have a very stacked lineup. Then they got a good rotation. They got another thing, too. Just like the Yankees, they got a lot of good young guys coming up, and a lot of them are pitchers.
Yeah.
A lot of them are pitchers, and they're really, really, they're up there. They're guys that could be really devastating this year. So it's going to be an interesting year. And just like this show, it's probably going to be a really good one.
Yeah. This is a good. I have a blast doing this, man.
I do too, man. This is only episode 2. I feel like we've been doing this forever, by the way.
Oh man, it's gonna be a great year. The one thing though about the Blue Jays and their young pitchers, young pitching is probably the most hit or miss, like in terms of prospects. You remember when the Yankees had Jabba, Phil Hughes, and Ian Kennedy in 2008? They 2008 they projected those guys to be the 2, 3, and 4 starters, or 3, 4, and 5, something like that.
Yep.
I think combined they were 0-8.
Yeah, they were
that
terrible.
season. They were awful that year. Young pitching, a lot of times it takes very few guys come up as pitchers and are successful from day one, right? There's a big learning curve dealing with major league hitters. In the minor leagues, you can get by with just the fastball a lot of times. You blow guys away, or a fastball and one breaking pitch. You got to have 3 good pitches in the major leagues to survive as a starter. Would not shock me if a couple of those guys don't end up being as dominant in the long run as the Blue Jays think. Also, injuries happen. Younger pitchers especially. We talked about it before. The stronger guys are these days, a lot more weightlifting, especially among pitchers. Those ligaments go. And the odds that all of them are going to remain healthy is slim to none. Yep. So just a little cold water on the Jays fans there. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I know we got a few Jays fans in here too, by the way. But we got one more super chat, and then guys, we're gonna get ready to wrap this episode up. It is from the great Rod Thompson. He goes, Pete, you make a great point. While the Yankees have made some moves, they have not went for it. I don't get the feeling that the Yankees are all in. That's my issue. Well, look, we could point to, we've been given the Steinbrenners. I think Hal Steinbrenner deserves some credit this year, but hey, one of the things that we can say about him is when the Yankees signed Carlos Rodon, he's quoted as saying, we're not done yet. And they were indeed done. Or things didn't go the way they wanted. So if we want to be picky and go, well, maybe here's the reason why you might feel that way, Rob, because we did expect something else after Carlos Rodon. And again, maybe it goes back to fans saying, you guys are spoiled. All right, well, guess what? We're also just going off of the words that our management told us.
Yeah. The fact that he said that they weren't done is not a good look if they don't make any more moves, right? That's something, and especially get off to it. You don't want to say that and then start off the season 1-3 or something like that.
Oh my God, please.
God, the papers will be all over. Are you done now, Hal?
But before we get off here, I just got to ask you this question about Aaron Boone, I think. You think Boone makes it through his whole contract, the new 4 years?
Does he have a 4-year contract? I thought
is it 4 years?
I know Cashman got 4.
Cashman got 4, so did he get 3?
I think he got 3.
Announced it. Did they announce it?
What's Boone's contract?
I don't think they ever announced it. They don't want the fans to know.
Maybe they did fire him. Maybe he just showed up. So he signed a new 3-year deal through 2024 with a club option for 2025. Okay. I think he'll make it through 2024. I think if the Yankees have 2 exits early in the playoffs the next 2 years, I don't think he'll be back for 25.
Man, I hope it's not that long. Hope the Yankees win the World Series and they go, all right, see you later.
stranger things have happened. Teams have replaced their manager, after winning. But if he wins a World Series, I think fans will become a little bit more accepting of him. I think we have a problem with his laid back style. It worked for Joe Torre because they won, right? You can have that laissez-faire attitude when the team's playing well. When you don't have communication with the closer and the center fielder doesn't know he's leading off, then it just looks lazy.
It's terrible. It looks so bad. So, well, we have a whole nother year ahead of us, guys. Baseball's back. By the time we do the show next week, I think there'll be spring training games already.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, I think by the
26th, right? That's the first spring training game. So I'll be doing a post-game recap probably around 4:00 next week. So whenever the game's over.
And guys, by the way, if that game is aired, I will be doing Game Season Live for some spring training games, definitely covering the WBC. And then, of course, you guys know on the 30th where I will be. And then, of course, April 1st will be at Yankee Stadium. So, awesome. Great show. Guys, you already know the dealio. We will never come whack on a designated Spittaz track. Got that from Montel Jordan. Thank you, Montel Jordan. Montel Jordan's probably out there watching. I wonder if he's a Yankee fan. Who knows?
I love Montel Jordan.
Who doesn't love Montel Jordan? So, guys, until next time, we're out. Talk to you later. Adios.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem damn bad. Gotta keep on chugging. Ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven. Got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that. It's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up. I'm trying to get it an FT to get them when they're hand in crypto.